Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Many of us fans have been patiently waiting for the official announcement of Xenoverse 2 to finally be released, and with that comes many questions as to what we may see in the next installment. Joining me here today is JrzSaiyan, and today we'll be sharing our thoughts as to what we would want to see be featured in Dragon Ball Xenoverse, in particular, the Namekian Class. We've covered the Saiyan class in the last episode. Go ahead and check it out down in the description below and share your thoughts on it. Now, JR, I would personally love to know your thoughts on several features being included within the Namekian class, within like the next Xenoverse game. One feature in particular is a possible God class. Now, like, what are your overall thoughts on that? Because after reflecting on Dragon Ball Heroes, I do feel as if the Namekians do deserve more of a bang for their buck, only because not many people use them. Not many people care about like their race in general. Within the game itself, they never really had any transformations. They never really had anything going. I mean, yeah, they had like a very unique moveset, but there was nothing to allow them to stand out as much as like the Saiyan class did, because the Saiyan class you had a variety of different things that you can do. So my first question is, do you feel like a God class is necessary for the Nameks only so they can balance themselves out with the rest of the races? We've heard of Saiyan gods, but is there such thing as Namekian gods? If needed be, should a godlike form exist for these class of fighters within Xenoverse 2? Why or why not?
Yes, there should be, because like you said, it's not just the balance. Because in the last game, they were pretty balanced in different ways, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But the whole transformation thing, yes, they should have transformation, not only because Saiyans have God transformations, but it's to even out the playing field with the I guess, the people's perspectives. Like, oh, well, a Saiyan has a God form, Namekian is just a Piccolo, right?
Right.
You don't want that. You want it to be like, well, my Namekian is going to become a God as well. Now, they would have to, this is all on, whoever makes the game, they would have to make their own Namekian god form, or a couple different forms you could choose from, because we have no idea what a Namekian god would actually look like, unless it would look like Kami, but that doesn't count, right? But the whole, even out the playing field from gameplay wise, now a big thing that was wrong in Xenoverse 1 with the Namekians was everything was toned down. Every single stat was super low except for two things: stamina and health, which I get, but
for the Namekians, correct?
For the Namekians, correct.
Okay.
Base attack, ki blast supers, strike supers, everything was low, like really low compared to, I think it was in like last place for mostly every stat except for health and stamina, which I think was 1 and 2 or 2 and 1.
That's why everybody used Saiyans,
and that's why, yes, but the people who did use Namekians, what they exploited was the most OP thing a Namekian had. It didn't take a lot of skill to use a Namekian because of the crazy range they had. They could literally grab you from across the world tournament stage, man. Like they can hit you in a combo, and they have some combos that are pretty much infinite.
Yeah, like they have some deadly ass combos. I've seen some stuff where people got grabbed and like they got thrown across the arena. But like, do you really think that made that much of a difference for certain people?
For certain people, yes. Because I mean, for a lot of people like me, I always find out a weakness. Like, okay, he has got long distance. I gotta stay close range, because that's how you fight someone with a longer distance. You gotta get close range. Don't let their arms come out, right?
Right.
For a lot of people, let's say, not competitive, people trying to have fun, or people who just aren't that good as good at the game. Not that they're bad, right? But as good, because there's some people that are gifted playing video games. Some people, they have to work hard at it, and that could get frustrating for a lot of people, because I mean, their little brother can be using a Namekian and just be spamming the button, and they won't even be able to get close to him,
Right,
you know what I mean? So if they were to have a god transformation, I would want them to tone down the range. Like, yes, Piccolo had long arms, but did you ever see him use the long range like that with his punches? It was more with the grabs. You know what I mean?
Well, that's true. I mean, he just recently used it against Frost. I mean, but he never really punched him. I understand that, yeah.
Yeah, because the punches, the guy would, like, I don't know if you saw, the Namekians would literally punch, like, across from a long distance.
They would strike you, like, here and there. But I'm pretty sure, like, at some point, somewhere along the lines, that must have happened between Goku and Piccolo, like, at King Piccolo at the tournament. But needless to say, so you're agreeing with a god transformation. So how would that even work? Like, what would you have to do? Like, is it a specific unlockable? And if so, how, like, would you want, the player to design, like, their own god form, or would you want it to be by default, again, something very different, than what we're used to seeing. But again, like incorporating Dragon Ball Hero elements here, I think this sets the stage for many possible things, because in Dragon Ball Heroes, virtually everything you see is just like what if, or like, you know, fan made and stuff. It's pretty cool. So
It's awesome.
like
It's awesome.
like what about like the Namekian God transformation? Like, do you think like it would make sense?
It would make sense. Now, like I said, they would need to make their own god form, the actual creators of the game, because we haven't seen a Namekian god form, right?
Right.
And I believe for Namekian gods, now, when I'm talking about god forms, the strongest god form should be the Saiyans, right?
Okay.
But the difference between the Saiyans and, like, let's say Namekians and other classes, Majins, whatnot, is they'll be a little bit weaker, not a lot, but a little bit. There'll be a difference. You know, the Saiyans are the strongest class, let's say, for transformations, because that's how it is in the series, right?
Right.
Well, with the Namekian god form, you have three choices, three default looks. One can be, you don't change the look of your character, but the aura becomes white, excuse me, or like godlike.
Okay.
Another one, it kind of changes the facial features. Now, they would have to play around with that. I wouldn't exactly know. Let's say they grow some like horns, or some kind of an extra like tentacles, or their ears get bigger, or they get buffer. You know, something to make it different. And I believe it should be between 2 or 3 default choices I should have with the Namekian, so they don't all look the same. You get me?
Right. I mean, but with that, do you think that the Namekians should have like an evolutionary stage before reaching the God class, meaning, you know, having them become like super Namekians before becoming God Namekians, or do you believe they should strictly have, you know, a normal Namek, and then just transcending into the final class, which is going to be the God Namekian class? Like what are your overall thoughts on that? Like, do you think there should be one more transformation before that, or should that be it? Should you just have a normal form, and then finally the highest one you can transform into is the God form? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
It should be the normal form, and then for every other class, unlock potential right there from the Grand Elder Kai, right? And then from there, you have to, somewhere they have to incorporate this in the actual story. Once you get to a certain level, like, this can't be an easy thing to unlock. They have to make this certain. God form cannot be an easy thing to unlock, because you don't want every single person to have it unless it's already at the end of the game where everyone's played it so much.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So you have to play the game so, like, not so much, but to a certain point where you complete this, you complete that, and eventually you get to train with Whis. Once you complete your training with Whis, you need to do even more training and his training, and then you unlock the God form. That's how I believe it should be. But the Namekians and other classes, other than the Saiyans, because they have Super Saiyan, should have the unlocked potential from the Elder Kai.
I mean, that would be amazing. I mean, just having to like further unlock your Namekian powers. Can you imagine like going online and witnessing a Saiyan god versus a Namekian god? Like, that would be that would be really fun to watch. Like, I would love to see a Super Saiyan god battle against
that's
a
dream
Namekian
come
god.
true for a lot of people. Yeah.
But like, what do you think would draw players more towards choosing the Namek gods as opposed to the Saiyan gods in Xenoverse 2? Now, what would be like your vocal points, you know, like on the form itself, and you know, what would be different about your Namekian class in terms of the god form compared to the Super Saiyan god form over on the Saiyan class?
It would have to go on looks and what it would increase.
Okay, so like, which stats would you increase for the Namekian god class that would make people want to say, hey, I want to choose that class over any other?
I believe for Saiyans, like Saiyans, it should be base attack, Ki Blast supers, and health should not rise, right? It should be Ki, because they're Saiyans, Super Saiyans, right? Super Saiyan gods.
And for the
Namekians, it should be health, stamina, and base attack. I believe it should be that.
So why do you believe those traits ought to be increased?
Well, as it is, Namekians can regen health and stam, so that should be an extra plus for them. You gotta go with the strength, so you have to go with the strength. So I believe that's something you would have an advantage if you learn how to use a Namekian against someone else. Like, okay, I turn to a god, right? Even though it's really hard, and it should be a really hard thing to turn to a god, it should be rewarding. So I turn to a god, so I have this little advantage where my health is growing a little by little, and my stamina is growing a good amount. You know, it's regenning, and I have these like kind of regeneration powers like Piccolo has. You get me?
Right. I mean, the outcome of that would be really awesome, because again, it just gives more of a chance for other classes aside from the Saiyan class
Yes,
to grow in nature, because everybody will always go back and choose. No, you're right, because everybody will always go back and choose. Like, let's say, for example, if the Super Saiyans had the God transformation, everybody and their mothers would want to go to that. But then again, you look on over to the Namek side, these Namekians have a god form, and you can't just like sit there but wonder like, what is this transformation and how do you unlock it and stuff. And I agree. I think they ought to make it to where certain stats are just increased astronomically and certain ones go down. But again, like with the Namekian God class, I do think that regen is definitely
the biggest
needed.
thing.
Not to the point where you're like Majin Buu and you get blown to hell and you come back completely.
Oh no.
But like let's say, for example, you are about to like lose your arm or your leg, you're able to regen and get some of your health back, which would be really cool. But if there's anything about the Namek class from Xenoverse 1 that you would change in Xenoverse 2 in terms of like like the overall like appearance, whether it's male or female, like what would you like include in terms of like what they would wear and how they would go about certain things? Because there were certain features that you could have kept going with, but they never really incorporated that. I mean, we saw blue Namekians, red Namekians, pink Namekians, but like what would you include in terms of like their appearance that they didn't have in Xenoverse 1?
What would I include? I mean, the customization for Namekians were pretty good because you could pretty much change everything.
Right.
From skin color to eye color. I mean, it was pretty awesome. I guess I would include more clothing. They didn't have, I guess, a wide variety of actual Namekian clothing that increased Namekian stats.
Right, okay. So, like, did they ever have, like, the weighted clothing?
No, perfect. Weighted clothing. They need that for Namekians, where they could just take it off and be extra fast.
That would be an essential. I mean, I would love to, like, just watch someone take off, like, their weighted gear and then they just throw it down and like get ready for battle. Like that reminds me a lot of Piccolo and Pikkon, because Pikkon also had weighted gear and whatnot. But comment down below as to what you guys think of a Super Namekian class being included in Xenoverse 2, and do you think that a godlike class should be included in order to level up the entire game? And if you guys agree, slap a like. If you don't, comment down below and let us know why. Once again, guys, thank you all for watching. If you guys are Dragon Ball fans, don't forget to subscribe. That way you guys don't miss a single Dragon Ball update. If you guys enjoyed the video, if you guys cannot wait for Xenoverse 2, then make sure you guys slap a like on that sumbitch. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Again, I mean, for Xenoverse 2, I'm stoked because I think that there's so much potential going into the next game that people aren't realizing how big it's going to be, especially with the companies fixing their mistakes and whatnot. I do believe it has massive amounts of potential. But comment down below if you guys agree with the Namekian class or disagree. I would love to know your thoughts down below. Thank you all for watching once again, guys. Tune in for more, and we'll be seeing you all later. Take it easy, everybody. Peace.